I'm your basic car guy. This is my brand new Mustang GT, and in another video, the next video coming up, I'm going to be explaining to you why I bought a Mustang GT versus a Mustang EcoBoost. But when you get a new car, what's the first thing you're probably going to do? Well, you're going to put it a bit to your taste, really the basic stuff. Quick little wash, maybe take off some license plate plaques in the front, and that's what I want to guide you through today. It's a bit of a how to ideally wash your car to, a basic wash job, because you can't always control what equipment you have. Of course, there's always cost attached to that. So the first thing I'm going to run you through is the front plate. A lot of these new vehicles, whether you're buying them new or used, they're going to have a front plate. Now, of course, in your province, your state, if you need front plate for your license plate, you're going to keep it up there. But if you don't need to have it, well, obviously when you have a Mustang, you already have a horse logo. So please don't make the same mistake a lot of people do, and they get the horse license plate. So then you have two horse logos. Not ideal, doesn't look the coolest in my opinion. So I've gone ahead and taken off the plate because legally I don't need to have this. I certainly don't need to advertise the year of my vehicle. And these plastic plates don't look great even if you do cover them in a chrome front plating. Now, in another video, I'm going to be showing you what to do with the holes that remain in your front bumper. But for today, that's going to be another day. But for today, what we're going to be covering is a how-to on washing your vehicle. So you're going to want two mitts. You're going to definitely need your clean mitt. And as soon as this gets dirty, pass it on to be your mag mitt. Your mags are always going to be dirtier, so leave your dirty mitt for your mags. Always have a very clean, relatively new mitt for your paint. And that's because paint, the darker it is, the more it's going to show the swirl marks. And swirl marks are almost always caused from either people touching your paint when it's dirty or your mitt, because your mitt is made to pick up dirt, and in picking up dirt, if you rub your paint with that dirt, well, you're going to put little lines in your clear coat. So if you zoom in here, I'll show you some of this car was just recently washed. You can see the vehicle gets dirty very quickly, especially in spring when the roads are dusty. Birds poop on it. You definitely want to take that off as quickly as possible, because that's actually going to be an acid that's going to affect your clear coat. It's going to negatively affect your clear coat. So every time you have a bit of dirt on your vehicle, ideally you'll clean it. So I've got my two mitts. I always remember which one's for the car, different color band. So I have black band for my paint. That way I'm not going to get these two mitts mixed up. Now, ideally, you're not going to be using a mitt. Ideally, you want to be washing your car without having to actually touch your paint. So it's a contactless wash job. You really don't want to be touching your paint at any point. So a pressure washer is ideal. So how to pick your pressure washer? Ideally, the more pressure you have, the better, because the higher the pressure, the more the dirt's going to be just shot off the paint anytime you're cleaning it. Especially if you have a good wax job on your car. A great wax job helps repel dirt when you're putting the pressure wash to it. So just keep in mind, no matter what pressure washer you buy, the more pressure it gives, probably the more expensive it's going to cost. But you're going to get two attachments. You're going to get an attachment probably that has a bit of a cone at the top. You don't want to use this. This is actually for taking paint off. It's called a decapper. So you can use it when you're taking, really heavy dirt off painted concrete, for example. But its primary use is actually to decap, to remove things such as paint. So it's very powerful, and you definitely don't want to get close to your paint job with it. But you've got this one. This is for washing. So test them out. Don't test them out on the car. Test them out on a surface that's not, nearly as important or expensive as your paint. Once you have your correct attachment, generally they always look like this, and they have some arrows to let you control the strength of the jet. So you just push it in. I know all this is very basic stuff, but that's the point of this channel. It's about covering the basic car stuff. Soap, Ideally don't use dish soap. Get an actual soap made for cars. It doesn't have to necessarily be one of the wash and wax brands. And even if it is wash and wax, you know, it seems basic enough. You think it's called wash and wax, I don't need to wax my car anymore, but you do need to wax your car. You need to wax your car when it's extremely clean, when it's perfectly clean. Because if you try to wax a car that has some dirt on it, once again, you're gonna be taking that dirt, which is like fine sand, and you're gonna be rubbing it around and just destroying your clear coat. Make sure your bucket is clean. So I removed all dirt and debris from my bucket in advance. Before getting to the soap, now of course I have mitts because my pressure washer, I made the mistake of getting a pressure washer in which the pressure isn't high enough to do a perfect job. Now if you're using your car every day and you're not going to car shows and it's not that important to you whether it's perfectly clean or just looks good, well, you know, a 3000 psi pressure washer or less is going to make your paint look good, but it's not going to get it perfectly clean. And the reason I'm pressure washing it instead of just putting the hose to it is the pressure washer is going to take a lot more of the dirt off the vehicle before I ever even touch the paint. I am going to be touching the paint with a mitt. Probably one of my next investments. I'm going to get a better pressure washer and not have to actually touch my paint anymore. Just a little heads up, next video, zoom in here, we're going to be covering how to properly fill in spots. Now of course if I could, I would have bought a brand new Mustang, but this is a used one and a Hyundai dealership. You know, they weren't Ford guys, they didn't have the right color match, and in not having the right color match, they improperly filled those stone chips. They swabbed it over the hole. Ideally you just want to fill in that hole, and I'll show you how to do that in another video with syringes. Generally, yeah, medical syringes can actually be used on a vehicle. And for today, I'm just going to quickly show you how to actually order your paint code correctly. So every vehicle has this. You've got your codes here, and you see here, Ford Motor Company. You get your code right down here, exterior EXT PNT N6. So that's the code you're going to use when you're ordering your paint, so it can actually match, because you don't want to just be putting on any blue like the other dealership did to cover up holes, stone chips. You want to order the right one. So that's your code right there for ordering the correct paint for your vehicle. So what I'm doing here is I'm hoping today that my pressure washer, meaning that it's not the most powerful one, I'm hoping nonetheless that I'm going to be able to do a contactless wash. So I'm really hoping to not have to use the mitts, because there's always the risk of putting a little bit of damage on that clear coat, and that's when you'll see it in the sun, you'll see those tiny little lines. So I've put the soap into the pressure washer, so if you're looking to buy a pressure washer, try to get one that has the compartment to add soap. The soap won't come out when your pressure wash is on max here. So you control the pressure, and to get the soap to come out, you put it on the minimum setting, and then when it's time to rinse it off, put it on max. So right now, let's just see if we can get a mittless wash in. So just keep in mind, it's my 7th Mustang, and it's easy to forget the hose on your pressure washer. Real easy to be going around, working away, focusing on washing your vehicle, and completely forgetting about the hose, as you see it almost happened there, and having it actually hit your paint. Often, you know, you're washing in your yard, your yard's not perfectly clean, and your hose is going to have a little bit of dirt on it. You definitely don't want it touching your paint either. Your clear coat is quite fragile. It's there to protect your paint, but it actually shows defects in it in the sun. So looks a little silly, but hose over the back, making sure the hose doesn't touch the paint. So we'll only really know if this vehicle is clean enough, and that's really subjective. That depends on the owner. But I'm going to find out if this paint's going to be clean enough for me once it dries. Of course, wet, it's going to look fantastic. Wet kind of gives you the idea also of how it should look, what your clear coat should look like with a really great wax job. That's going to be coming up in a future video. We're going to be covering how to wax your vehicle in a manner that won't scratch your clear coat while you're doing it. Of course, step one is getting the vehicle perfectly clean. And once the paint code comes in, the paint chip, the little paint bottle that we're ordering, once it comes in, we'll be covering paint chips. Now, of course, I would have loved to have bought a new one, but the price difference would have been about $30,000, and I wouldn't have these paint chips. But if you're pretty handy, and if you don't mind taking a bit of time, you can get a used vehicle, put a little bit of work into it, and have it look almost as good as a new one. Now, of course, the GT Mustang, one of the reasons I picked it as my summer vehicle is because it has 460 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. The horsepower, you get 460 horsepower at 7,000 RPM, so that makes this a V8 that revs quite high. It's a high revving V8. So that's a lot of excitement and fun right there. It's miles per gallon. That's how I'm measuring my gas consumption, but actually I took it for a little test yesterday, and in being really careful and doing about 70% highway at an average economy under 9 liters per 100 kilometers. And once I started doing a little bit of town, actually a good amount of town, I was more playing around the 10 to 11 liters per 100 kilometers. In an upcoming video, I'll be showing you how to cover or hide damaged mags. So we'll come over and look at the mag right here. You'll see here, often you lend your vehicle to a friend or you're buying a used vehicle and you're gonna have scuffed mags. So part of the paint I'm also ordering is I'm gonna order touch-up paint for black, and I'm also gonna need a little bottle of clear coat because this is shiny black. So it's your clear coat that's going to give you this nice shine, and it's also going to protect it. So I'm ordering that away, and till next time.